Welcome back, guys. This is Dr. Somji
and Dr. Solomon here.
So I had to do a video because I got gifted this Vichy products from Vichy, looking specifically, if we read the card, at the serums. So it's a serums edit. And a lot of people always ask me about Vichy serums. We've done a more in-depth review of the whole Vichy range in separate videos, and you should be able to find that if you click the link to subscribe. But today we're just going to focus on their top 4 serums because they were sent to them by me.
Yeah, so interesting.
Sent to them by me? Or no, they were sent to me by them.
Yeah, you didn't send them, unless you're sending them back.
Okay. It's been a long day.
So Vichy, it's not a random name, it's a great name, but Vichy comes, the name originates from the Vichy area of France. Very famous area, spa area, you might have been there, and it's famous because of the alkaline springs there. And it goes back even beyond, even to the Bronze Age, but made particularly famous by the Romans, who named it Vicus Calidus. And the Roman emperors and the Roman troops would often stop there and take advantage of the alkaline baths, the spa baths, the natural springs. So Vichy have incorporated that water into their product range, and that is sort of the basis for their very existence and their product range, and gives them a slight advantage of having a source in the ground, essentially.
Absolutely, because if you look at any ingredients list, what normally comes up on top is water, i.e. aqua, and their water, the Vichy water, is better than other water, or so they say.
In fact, they are manufactured in Vichy, and you can be certain with reasonable confidence that they are using Vichy water.
Absolutely. So look, here's the first one that a lot of patients use. It's the LiftActiv Vitamin C Serum Corrector. So 15% vitamin C. What do you have to say, initial thoughts, just looking at the packaging?
The first thing, it's appealing, it's sealed, and it's a dropper. So, you would hope that there's not much oxidation going on.
God,
but you have vitamin C, and then you have high concentration vitamin C at 15%. My only concern would be how much UV light gets into here, and also how much oxygen gets in. Now, they usually have these one-way, you'll know more about these, but one-way valves, which might stop the oxygen.
So it's not airtight, but they've done a pretty decent job. Obviously, this is resistant, but obviously if you've got product stuck there, then that could cause a problem.
Oxidize. And as we know, when you oxidize the vitamin C, cancel out the beneficial effects of the vitamin C.
I mean, let's have a look at the ingredients, because 15% vitamin C is quite high, so it's a good concentration that you can get over the counter. It's very similar to even some of the medical grade stuff, such as the Bargi, and even SkinCeuticals. It's not medical grade, but it's just a little bit higher than High Street. You've got vitamin E and pure hyaluronic acid in there. So what benefits are vitamin E going to have for the skin?
Vitamin E will act as a very good barrier protection.
Yeah.
So whilst you have the vitamin C as an antioxidant layer, it's very prone to sort of evaporating off the skin. With the vitamin E, you seal in all the products, you seal in. You also add that sort of hydration protection as well. Yeah,
I mean, it's quite nice because you've got hydrolyzed hyaluronic acid there, which is great to have. You've got the tocopherol, which is obviously the vitamin E. You've got glycerin, which again is going to be helping the barrier.
And a good gliding product.
Yeah, nice gliding product. Ascorbic acid is high up on the list, which is really good to see because it means it's more of a concentration of the vitamin C. But and interestingly, you've got Pinus pinnata bark extract as well, which I think is native to the area as well, right? And it's got some great antioxidant properties that work very well with vitamin C. So if you've got kind of like sun-damaged skin, maybe a little bit more sensitive skin, this is not going to be a bad thing. It's going to really help with the brightness.
And that's the great thing with a lot of these products, you don't know where they're sourcing the ingredients. With the Vichy, you can actually go down to Vichy. You can see
you've been?
bark. I have actually been.
Right.
And you can see the spas. You can even experience them yourselves. So to me, that's appealing. It's appealing that you know the source of this, and you can, let's say, experience the raw materials yourself.
Wow, I mean, they haven't invited me, so clearly they like you better than I do. Obviously, it's got denatured alcohol in there, which can irritate skin. So if you've got very, very sensitive skin, inflammatory skin, rosacea, these sorts of things, you might want to stay away. But if you've obviously a skincare expert and you've been on high strength stuff and you want to really just jump into 15% vitamin C and you've got bad pigmentation, etc., this is going to be probably the product for you, but you got to be careful. And slowly you'll see that evaporated from skincare. Alcohol was only evaporated. Small amounts of alcohol, absolutely fine to boost the added effects of vitamin C. That's the reason why it's there. but if you've got very sensitive skin, having too much higher concentration is probably not the best thing. This is a nice one because it's the HA Epidermic Filler. So it's 1.5% pure hyaluronic acid, refills wrinkles and fine lines and replump skin.
Yeah.
How is hyaluronic acid going to do this?
So hyaluronic acid is a humectant, and by that I mean it absorbs water. It's thought that hyaluronic acid can absorb up to 1,000 times its weight in water. And how does it fill fine lines? Well, it's not filling them permanently. What it's doing, it's plumping up the skin, and you know, this is the epidermic filler. So you're putting it as a base layer on the skin, and what that's doing is that it's drawing water into that superficial layer. Very important when you put in any hyaluronic acid serum is that you seal it in. Because if you just use this, what's going to happen is that the superficial, the epidermal layer of the skin will be hydrated, and then you'll sap that moisture from the deeper layer of the skin. And without a barrier, everything will go in one direction. So what you want to do is you want to seal it in with some sort of barrier protection.
So let's see if they have got some barrier protection.
And they may have integrated one into that.
So Aqua, obviously using the Vichy water, which is fantastic. You've got glycerin in there, which is going to help seal that there, which is fantastic. You've also got castor oil in there, which is pretty cool. I mean, castor oil is great for that barrier, really.
Yeah, it is a sealant, but we're looking more for possibly either an emollient with a vitamin E component or possibly a more substantive emollient as well.
They've got sodium hyaluronate, which is obviously that deeper moisture that you talked about.
Yeah.
There's a sea cow cereal seed extract and rye seed extract, which is probably going to give it a bit more skin food, as it were. So, but apart from that, there's nothing really else there. So it's quite a simple formulation. I think the hyaluronic acid's at a higher concentration, but look, if we just put it on the skin, it's actually a little bit dry.
Yeah.
So if you're going to use this serum and you want to take advantage of it, I think you should take Dr. Solomon's advice and definitely use maybe a ceramide cream or something similar to that over the top.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of combined products anyway. I prefer to separate them, and so you can at least be sure that you're getting a good sealant on top of it.
Yeah, okay, perfect. This is an interesting one because it's buzzword, really. It's the B3 Dark Spots and Wrinkle Serum.
Okay.
So
tell me about B3. Why is B3? You see it a lot in products. You see
like niacinamides everywhere.
Even in injectables, you see it.
Even in injectables now, they're thinking of they're putting some niacinamide in there. Niacinamide is all around a good formulation. It helps with the skin barrier, it can help with pigmentation, help with redness. It just helps with the way that skin functions. You've got some great formulations, even from the Ordinary and the Inky list. Ordinary in particular got some nice things, such as 100% niacinamide powder, which is really cool. But this is, you know, I like constructive skincare because this is a bottle that can help you with a concern, rather than you picking and choosing from different things. And they've got some good ingredients to target, because niacinamide alone is not great for pigmentation. It helps a little bit, but they've got more things here that will help. So if you look at the ingredients list, they've got 5% niacinamide. You've got glycolic acid. So how would glycolic acid help with pigmentation?
So with the glycolic acid, it encourages cell turnover. So you're bringing the pigment to the surface. And we see it a lot in face washes, which are usually as part of the skincare routine when we are treating pigmentation. You want that skin to exfoliate, you want that skin to come to the surface, and you want the pigment to be carried up with the skin cells as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look, because it's got niacinamide, it feels a lot more smoother and nicer than the hyaluronic acid serum. It feels just a lot more complete, really, doesn't it? But then that can be used, I guess, over the top of the hyaluronic acid. You could use this serum over the top, right? Now, because it's got glycolic acid, for certain my skin type, you don't normally recommend glycolic acid for darker skin types because it can cause irritation, and if you get irritation, you get a phenomenon called post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which essentially is more pigmentation as a result of the irritation.
So you've got to be very careful with some of these products.
So so if you've got darker skin type, you might want to be a little bit more careful with this. Let's have a look at some of the other ingredients that are there. So we've got niacinamide really high up, which is fantastic. Glycerin in there, glycolic acid like we've talked about. We've also got tranexamic acid, which is a great ingredient. How does that help?
So tranexamic acid is a great ingredient we use in a lot of anti-pigment treatments. So essentially it's one of the methods by which you can inhibit the pigmentation, the carry of the pigment to the surface of the skin by blocking that transport. So it's a transport blocker.
Yeah.
And you see it a lot in certain face washes, but you see particularly in pigmentation treatment and preventative treatments as well. So you might know tranexamic acid as a product also when you ingest it to help with bleeding.
Tablet form.
Tablet form, it helps with bleeding. Because it does,
menstrual bleeding.
Yeah, it stops hemorrhagic bleeding, or at least slows it down, and we use it a lot in hospital care.
And we use it in melasma, right?
Yeah.
So tablets for melasma.
Yeah, well, you can use it in tablets for melasma, but the mechanism of action, which we'll put up in the link here, is quite different with melasma, but essentially it's stopping that carry of pigmentation. And in some of our more popular peels as well, you'll see components.
So not only this will treat pigmentation, it can also stop the recurrence of it, which
Stop
is
the recurrence of it, and it's also what it's doing. It's helping the skin cells shed where existing pigments on there. So it's encouraging that that pigment to be removed.
And a nice ingredient over here is the scorbut glucoside. So it's got some vitamin C in there as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, as an antioxidant.
As an antioxidant. So it's actually a really nice formulation when you look at it. Some great things in there to help with pigmentation. Maybe a slight caution in darker skin types, but it's not a steadfast rule. But I think it's a really nice formulation if you want to be using some vitamin C, but you've got pigmentation. And also with the niacinamide, it's not going to damage your skin barrier. So even with darker skin types like me, because niacinamide is so high up on the list, I wouldn't need to worry so much about the glycolic acid causing the post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So all around a nice product, and it feels really nice too actually. So layering maybe the hyaluronic acid first and then using that might be a nice way of utilizing the moisturizing properties of the hyaluronic acid and then still treating your pigmentation at the same time, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Now, after you've done all of this, what do you want to do in the daytime?
So in the
these are all daytime stuff,
these are all
right?
daytime.
Yeah.
It's quite useful to, as well as providing a barrier layer, protect the skin from one of the most damaging external components or energies, and that's UV light. UV light in the summer and in the winter can potentially damage the skin. If you've gone through all that effort of protecting the skin from pigmentation and from free radical damage, and also from treating it, you want to prevent UV damage to the skin. You want to prevent free radicals forming on the skin. And the way you can do that is using an SPF. And the great thing with the Vichy SPF as well is it can double up as a barrier protection.
Yeah.
So that sealant I was talking about, this Capital Soleil or the SPF 50 that they produce would be a perfect sort of top layer on top.
Yeah, I mean it's water repellent. It's a water fluid. It goes in really quickly.
Really nice, and it doesn't
cast.
leave a white sort of cast on the skin.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty incredible. Really, it's really really nice. And what is really cool about this is that it's got probiotics in there. Yeah. You're a big fan of probiotics in skincare. Yeah. You made me put probiotics in my skincare when I was formulating it. It just creates that good environment for good skin health.
Yeah, one of the problems with over-aggressive or maybe overzealous skincare, sometimes you can disturb that sort of coliform layer or the bacterial layer of the skin.
Yeah, so like the harmony.
The harmony of the skin, you need them, and that potentially could lead to those vulnerable, more inflammatory conditions and also potentially fungal infections of the skin.
Yeah, so it's like not destroying the rainforest to keep all those nice species of animals and plants living well in harmony with each other. So actually, like I said, there's some great things in there. You've also got some peptides in here when you're looking at the formulation. So great for skin health, helping kind of prevent degradation of collagen. Niacinamide in this too. So they're really all about kind of really helping that skin barrier and not damaging. I guess the only slight downside that there is that there is some perfume in there which we can both smell. Yeah. But again, with SPFs, perfume, it's the last thing on the skin. And if you're using serums and stuff underneath,
it's protected.
You're protected. Yeah. But if you're just putting it just on the skin freshly after cleansing daily, then you might end up with an issue later on if you're prone to sensitivity. And don't forget, the perfume is very low down the list. It's a very low concentration. And he says that it's got the net lock technologies, ultra film anchoring broad spectrum filters for a lightweight, invisible, non-greasy finish, help prevent wrinkles, dark spots and oxidative stress induced by UV and pollution. Helps correct the appearance of dark spots and loss of plumpness. So they're talking more about the niacinamide there, really. So it's not only protecting, but it's also helping the solution as well. And it's actually really, really nice because it protects both UVA and UVB. So it's a great product, but like I said, the only small like point there is that it's got the perfume in there. But look, sometimes, you know, it's one of those things. I always talk about not putting perfume in products, and I never put perfume in my products. But the first thing that I do is smell it. So it's one of those things. I mean, I'm
especially if it's a product you're using during the day when you're going to be around other people.
Yeah, I mean, look, the other thing is that there are non-allergen based fragrances out there, so they're not allergic, and a lot of companies should really start using that. I thought that about my thing, but I thought people, because I'm a doctor, they'd be a little bit more hypercritical, so I just removed all fragrances. But it's like essential oils, that it's not all essential oils are not wrong, but it's about choosing the right thing. But what I always love about the Vichy range is that they stay true to the history of the product.
Yeah.
Just looking at bark extract that was in one of the serums coupled with the water, that's just like, that's amazing, because you're just basically taking active ingredients from your surroundings, from where the product's born. So you really respect the way that they do things. Those are Vichy serums. Yes, it's not a sponsored post, but it's gifted to me. But they really wanted to know what my thoughts were. I hope you enjoyed both of our thoughts on the Vichy range and also the serums. If there's any products within the range that you think that we've missed, that you want to talk about, just let us know. Don't forget there's another video on Vichy that if you click that bell to get alerts and subscribe, you'll be the first to know when it comes out.